It's beautiful outside. Look at that, blue skies. I'm Tanis Coralee Leonhardi. This is my YouTube channel, Tanis Leonhardi, and I'm filming this Friday, 2 February 2024. This is my take on the Melvin Stewart 200 meter butterfly, 1 minute 55.69 seconds from 12 January 1991. So this is before I was alive, which marks the first of my athletic performance contextualizations for a swim, like a swimming performance, before I was alive, if I'm recalling correctly, which I think I am. And so here I talk through the Melvin Stewart 200 meter butterfly race at the 1991 World Aquatics Championships in Perth, Western Australia, Time of 1 minute and 55.69 seconds in the final on Saturday, 12 January 1991. With his time, he achieved a personal best time, first place, and a world record. I guess I'm changing up the order there. I provide my take/perspective on his performance and contextualize it in terms of how I learned about the world record, because I was not alive when it happened, and compare the legacy of how I heard about the world record with the legacy of how I heard about the Gunder Hägg world record of 4 minutes and 1.4 seconds in the 1 mile run. And yes, and the legacy. So it's legacy versus legacy for that comparison, which is I completed my first Gunder Hägg inspired run or walk run today, Friday, 2 February 2024, in a 2024 season best time, 59.80 minutes. So Melvin Stewart's an interesting person in my personal swimming story. So this was it. He did this swim in 1991, which was before I was born, before I was conceived, even. So, how did I hear about it? And what's my take on the race or perspective? Well, I've been writing and publishing about swimming since 2021, like April, May 2021, like starting then, publicly anyway. And this is still a fast time. It might not get you a medal at a senior world championships. However, it might, it might add a certain competition. And it might as a junior, right? So it's, considering this was over 30 years ago, says something about that this time was very, I would guess, very fast at the time. And it was still fast to this day. So there's my take/perspective on the race. And then contextualization. So it was like, I don't even know if I'd started swim team, but I live in Innisarden and there's a pool over that way. And we use the pool, and my sister started swim team before I did because she's approximately 3 years older than me. And so, you know, she's on swim team and we used the pool, and I had taken swim lessons and stuff. And there was this kid about my age named Michael Gross. And Michael Gross knew a random spattering of swimmers' names that he thought everybody else should know, because there was a butterflyer named Michael Gross who held the world record in the 200 meter butterfly, which is the same race as this guy, Melvin Stewart. And he was just like, everybody should bow to Michael Gross, and he has wings like an albatross, and yada yada yada. And then he was like, and then there's like Melvin Stewart, who's a hothead, and like he rambled off on all these names. And it was like, before this conversation, it was like, something along the lines of Tanis throws temper tantrums. All right, it's like we're little kids. He was a bit of a bully, and there's the enunciation, right? Tanis throws temper tantrums. That's a full sentence, and every word starts with T. Okay. All right, even adults get stuck on that sometimes. So I remember him saying that, and it was like, he didn't know, like, I questioned the statement in there was a bit of like, he didn't know any of the women's swimmers' names and stuff, and it was just kind of like, why would I, like, he tried to berate, or well, not tried, he did berate me a bit for not knowing the men's swimmers' names, and I, being like, I'm a woman, why would I know men's swimmers' names, and then he, like, I really liked animals, and so he was like, besides, Tanis, I thought you liked animals. I was like, well, an albatross is a bird, right? So the human is not a bird. So why would I like a human? That would potentially lead to the extinction of the bird if I like the human, right? You know, kind of thing. Like, and instead of, I don't think so, dude. So it was like, which is like, well, okay, attack me like that, of course I'm going to respond with the truth, you know. I'll stick with the hothead because I'm Tanis that throws temper tantrums. And his name is Melvin Stewart, right? This is so that's how I heard about the world record, was somebody rambling about a bunch of names and a bunch of people they didn't really know anything about because they were 6-year-old kind of thing. Or 5-year-old. And choosing Melvin Stewart because I was like, well, since I'm such a temperamental person, maybe the temperamental person and I are a fit. So, and I've watched Melvin Stewart on YouTube, and yeah, I like the guy. I like the guy a whole lot more than I like a lot of other 200-meter butterflyers. So I made the right call for possibly the right reason. I've learned in life, there are times in real life survival situations where if a person cannot be a hothead or cannot be arrogant or make it known what they need and or want to survive, more so need, and you have to kind of communicate that in a strong sense sometimes, or you don't get what you need to survive. So yeah, I still like Melvin Stewart. Now the second part of this contextualization is, so I heard about it, right, and that's a swimming setting, and talked to death about it, and then he came up later with the digitization of photos and swimming information, right? He's been involved with different swimming kind of startups and stuff. So he's been one that's kind of like been around, like, so I first heard about the world record, and then there was like, the Melvin Stewart was like the fixture of the summer league, my summer league communication space. If you want one person in all of swimming who epitomizes being both a good swimmer and dedicated to the legacy of the sport, there is nobody preceding Melvin Stewart in his diversity. Okay, and especially when it comes to like the internet. So unto this day, that's true, right? It's not like swimmers post on their YouTube channels as consistently as Melvin Stewart does via the medium, via how he does, kind of thing. So there's that, and then the Battle of the Legacies. So it's an interesting one because it's verbal, word of mouth, which is, I've learned in my writing and publishing, is a lot of how swimming works. And there's a drawback to that in that I learned about the Gunder Hägg world record of 4 minutes and 1.4 seconds, and some of the other runners' times via text and not necessarily spoken. And if they were spoken, I did only one season of track and field for my high school, and I didn't, they were like, they're obsolete, everybody runs faster than 4 minutes at the top now in the 1 mile run, you know, kind of thing. And so it was just kind of like kicked to the wayside. And yet they are ones that I have invoked both in my running and before my most recent reading of a book, in life in general, especially the ones with that come from I'm part Scandinavian, so the ones that come from Scandinavia, they've kind of like been my beacons of hope. And so I'm bringing this up specifically in relation to the Melvin Stewart world record because I am my own coach in running, and Melvin Stewart was brought up before coaches were kind of introduced in swimming, and that kind of gears up people towards have to focus on this. So Melvin Stewart, and in that sense, is like the only world record that I would say in terms of like could have the same impact on my swimming career if I were to return as these like the Gunder Hägg, Arne Anderson, John Landy world records. Jakob Ingebrigtsen's a different case because he's alive and active. All right, and I've actually seen like at least one of his performances live, not in person yet. I hope to, you know, but that kind of thing. So there's a difference between following a person at the time and them doing what they did before I was even born, came into existence, before I was alive. So me, physical me. So the legacy in my life, right, I can act on it. I know how to act on it. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, of my own initiative legacy of scrawlings of text and snippets in books where the book's not even about Gunder Hägg, right, how it can substantially impact my mental space, how I plan for things, and how I run and or train, right, race and or train. So swimming is an interesting one where it's like, both with Melvin Stewart and without Melvin Stewart have been like, there's like remarkably little impact that swimmers have had on my swimming, whereas like with some of the runners, they very much impact me on and off the road, where the initial impact, especially for the Scandinavians, was off the road, or to continue running on the road kind of thing. You can throw Ingebrigtsen in there as well. But the point here, yes, but we're trying to keep it before I was born, world records before I was born. So in that sense, no. But yeah, I don't know if it would be different. What I'm trying to get at here is, I don't know if it would be different if I read a book about Melvin Stewart. Yeah, there's a time commitment to writing a book and a finished product there that, and like, not a biography of a different 200-meter butterfly, right? Like, the race of the century was a unique book and it focused on multiple people and brought in other people for context. So, I don't know, right? Maybe I haven't encountered the right medium for his world record kind of thing. Yeah. But if there's one world record that has the potential to be on par with some of the runners, it would be the Melvin Stewart. So that's why I chose this one for the first one from before I was alive. I was like, I might as well choose one that has impact on me, if none other than me accepting that I can throw temper tantrums, and there's somebody else in the world that's a hothead too, or at least was, kind of thing. Self-acceptance, which is a healthy thing. But yes, I am not tangentially related, but related to the legacy of the Gunder Hägg one. Completed my first Gunder Hägg inspired run or walk run today, Friday, February 2024. I'm Tanis Coralee Leonhardi. It's my YouTube channel, Tanis Leonhardi. My season best time, 59.80 minutes. I brought my walking time down today. Running was still less than 7 minutes per mile average, but my walking time was the one that improved today. So there we go. Maybe I'll think of a Melvin Stewart inspired something. That'd be a crossover. That'd be cool. All right. Thank you for joining me.